bless football. Billy Gill, was that Mike Golick Jr. whistling? We'll find out in a second.
God bless football, Mikey A?
God bless football, Mike Golick Jr.
Wow.
God bless football, Stugotz. It was me whistling. How about that?
Are you a whistler? Or is that just a thing that you did in that moment?
Big whistler. One of my few strong talents where publicly I whistle a lot. Yeah.
So
Really?
do you do like popular current songs, or you do like the Andy Griffith Show? Like, what do you do when you whistle?
One I seem to go to all the time is, I think, the Candyman. Was that from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory? You know.
Ooh.
Whatever that one is. I bop to that one a lot
right.
for some reason. Good whistler. Good range.
Now, can you do the thing where you put the fingers in your mouth and whistle like that?
No, and I'm so jealous of people that can.
Right. Like a great coach could do that, right? A great coach.
Because there's just so much more volume with that one. Can any of you guys do that?
No.
No. I could barely whistle.
Three people try and teach me. Can't do it.
Right.
My uncle used to do it, and some people have, like, my wife has told me that her dad also had, like, a distinct whistle. So, like, that's the thing, is not only do you put, like, the fingers in the mouth, some people can do it without doing that, right? But then everyone also has their own distinct whistle. And I don't know if you guys had, like, multiple people in, like, elementary school era that had the parents that did it. My uncle was pretty much the only one that did it, right? But you knew as soon as you heard the whistle, you didn't even see him, but like a dog, your ears just kind of perked up. You're like, yep, that's his whistle. That's for us. It's time to go home. He's here. And then we would eventually coerce him into like, hey, why don't you come be all-time QB for a couple games here? And then he's like, okay. And then he'd be there like coming home from work. He'd be in his scrubs and he'd be like in the field, like playing with strange children. Not strange children. They were our friends, but he would be like the adult in scrubs, all-time quarterbacking a bunch of, you know, like 12-year-old kids playing football.
I'm glad you cleaned up the strange children part of it.
Yeah, it was. They were classmates.
Some of them were strange, though.
Yeah.
Wait, but Golick and I had the same reaction. People could do that whistle without putting their fingers in their mouth. Like,
yeah,
really?
It's just, yeah. I think it's tongue related. It has to be your teeth too, right? I think there's some people that like just can't do it genetically because they don't have the right, like, I don't know, holes.
I was going to say, this is a whole new classification system, because I always wondered if there was a divide between the people who could one-hand it with the finger and the thumb, and then the people that, you know, have to like put two fingers on each side like that. Right. I figured there was a divide there. If you're one of the people that can just raw dog it, you've got to be the upper tier of loud whistlers.
Wait, so you're saying that's tier one? Because I would say it looks better if you shove a couple of fingers in your mouth, you know?
I would say aesthetics, to me, the one-hander is probably the most elite.
It's so impressive, right? Right. Like Parcells, he's the greatest ever at it. I mean, that ups the like you already had the intimidation factor with Parcells, but that's immediately like that's like meeting a man who works with his hands. As soon as you can do that, I'm like, oh, you're made of manlier material than I am.
So what do you like? So the person that does it with their fingers or whatever, right? Like, what is if you could and you could select your ability to loud whistle? Would you just like a quick like whistle, or would you do like a or one of those things, like a two-parter, or would it just be like a long whistle, or just like a quick, you know, one of those?
I would go long short. Mine would be like a like something like that, a little
with an up and a down. Got it. That's like a cursive whistle almost.
Right.
Yeah. Yes.
Could Brian Kelly pull it off? Was he like one of those coaches that had the whistle down?
No, Brian didn't have the whistle down. I wonder what percentage of coaches actually can, considering most of them grow up with an artificial whistle.
Right.
Like they've always got the fake thing. Yeah.
Right. Well, you know, Parcells can. I have a feeling Andy Reid can. I don't know.
But Belichick can.
Yeah, Belichick can do the whistle.
I feel like all the Parcells tree guys have to be able to.
Or else you're not on his coaching staff.
It was required.
Yeah.
Right. The Shanahan McVay guys, no chance.
Yeah. Listen, your resume looks good. You had a great season last year. Just one thing, need you to go ahead and whistle for me. Oh, you can't? Well, we'll be in touch.
I love that.
We originally asked Gojo to join us for God Bless Football. He said no. Then we told him Dan Nitro Clark was going to join us, and he was like, hey, I'm in.
What time?
Say less.
Yeah.
American flag leotards, we're in.
Why are you so intrigued by him? Like, what is it about him?
I just think the whole American Gladiators phenomenon in general, I like things that are sports tangent that involve strength. Like I grew up watching World's Strongest Man too, all of that stuff. Infinitely fascinating. Like, because all of these guys like were, and you know, with Nitro, you had people that were playing traditional sports that then once that ended, start and parlayed it to something like this, where you still got to be strong. You still have to be able to do really athletic stuff, but you just do it in the most ridiculous settings possible. And that's, to me, way better.
Gojo, I had never thought about this, or I guess we didn't know this, but we should have you on the next time we have Magnus for Magnuson on.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
The guy is
God,
the best, and his guy that like we would reach out to would like, he was constantly inviting us to Iceland to go watch, like work out with him or go to like a World's Strongest Man there, and we're like, it's in Iceland, it's a bit of a trek, like we have trouble getting to the Super Bowl. I don't know if we're gonna make this one work, but man.
The most jealous I've ever been of anyone. So our Kyle Rudolph, friend of the show, at one point with the Minnesota Vikings, they took them on a trip to Iceland as like an NFL ambassador, team ambassador thing. And he got to go, I believe this was in Iceland, to, you know, Hafthor Bjornsson, who played the Mountain on Game of Thrones, giant strongman. He got to go watch him work out just like that in Iceland. So he got to live what you guys are talking about, and it seemed awesome.
I love that Magnus. We can't get ourselves to Glendale, but Magnus wants us to come to Reykjavik. I mean, it's unbelievable.
I'm gonna have to reopen that relationship to get an invite, because the last time I was like, yeah, maybe Magnus, like maybe we could do that, knowing full well like I can't get us to get 20 people to go to Iceland in November. Please,
just send me. I'll go and work out with him. Videotape all of it. I got you guys.
Oh, I love that.
You think Magnus can whistle?
No doubt.
Definitely.
Definitely.
Do you think Dan Nitro Clark can whistle? 2 fingers in his mouth. We'll find out next.
Dude, my dudes, I'm so gosh darn excited. We're the #1 show in the country on Netflix right now.
Congrats.
Just got the #1 one day of release. I opened my Netflix this morning and I looked. Muscles and Mayhem, the story of the American Gladiators, #1 in freaking America. I mean, wow. It's almost like I don't know, you know, when you're like, as you guys know, you're content producers, when you're a creative producer, and something that's been so close to you, the American Gladiators for the last 25, 30 years ago. And, you know, my partner and I at Game 7, Kyle, you know, we woke up this morning, it's almost like winning the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? Like, we won it, because it's been a 2.5-year journey from, you know, selling the story to Netflix to, you know, bringing the directors in to shooting and to filming. It's there's a lot goes into that 5-episode thing you see on TV. And even before I did a docuseries, I said, how hard can they be? You know, you get people in a room, you interview them, you get the archive footage, you get some electronic press kit footage, and you know, you just put it together. The work that goes into creating a great TV show, the work that goes into creating a great podcast, as you guys know, it's so much work, 2.5 years. And, you know, it's just been really a great morning. And I just wanted to celebrate that with you guys. Because first guys, I'm told.
That's awesome. Congratulations, man. By the way, we just wing it on our podcast. It's not that hard.
You're born with much more genius than I am, because I have to work. I've had to work my ass off. I've had to work my ass off for everything I've gotten. You know, I was that kid that was always picked last. You know, back when I played Pop Warner football, that'll tell you how old I am. It was actually called Pop Warner. I was the kid who, you know, was the overweight kid who couldn't play in the game because he couldn't make the weight class. And originally I played football because I tried baseball. You know, I tried baseball and I went out for the first time. The guy in the tryout hit a pop fly. The ball went flying up in the air and it came down. I had my little glove out and hit me in the head. And I started crying. Then I went to boxing. I started boxing. I got the gloves on, and this first boxing thing, this kid hit me in the mouth, you know, with his head butting me. My lip bled, and I started to cry. So then I said, football. I'm going to play football because you got a helmet on, you got a pads. But as a shy little kid, football I thought was going to be a way for me to hide under that helmet. But then I was called out because I was put on the sideline with the other fat kids, with my jersey right above my man boobs and my big belly hanging out, who were too fat to play football. So for me, I've had to work my ass off for everything I've gotten. When I switched to, being, a producer and a writer, I didn't even know how to type. Billy, I didn't know how to type. And I said, I'm going to be a writer. But I knew how to work, man. I knew how to work. I got Mavis Beacon and started teaching myself to type. And I hated Mavis Beacon. So then I got Mario Brothers teaches typing.
Oh my God. I used to use that in elementary school. Mario teaches typing. That was the best.
Spirits.
This is amazing.
So what you use, Billy, as a bright, young, high-achieving kid, I used after I finished San Jose State football, grown man, moved to the industry. We were using the same program.
This is amazing.
Wow. A lot of similarities in this chat right now. You and Billy used that same program. I was also a fat kid in Pop Warner football who couldn't make weight and had a jersey up to my man boob. So we had a lot in common here.
Do you have an Oura ring on? Is that an Oura ring?
That is an Oura ring. Do you have one too?
Jesus Christ.
Yes, it's an Oura ring. There's only one rule about Oura rings. If you have an Oura ring, you got to talk about it.
Okay, let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. What are they?
Well, no, it's a funny thing. I used to do CrossFit. There's one rule in CrossFit. If you can do CrossFit, you have to talk about it, right? Now, Oura ring is just a thing that
got one rule for everything. I mean,
biomechanics. Yeah, my wife
talk
lets
about
me.
it.
One rule. When I talk, honey. When I talk, I've got no rules. She completely owns me.
talk Oura rings. I want to hear you and Mike talk about them.
Mike, tell me what your thoughts about the Oura ring is.
It's great, Stugotz, to try and remind me and shame me into sleeping more, even knowing full well I don't actually end up sleeping more. It's one of those wearables that tracks your heart rate and your blood oxygen at night, and it gives you a little score in the morning, and it gives you these colors. So you wake up and you open the app, and based on what your score is and how much sleep you got, if you get a number in the 90s, it's real nice and blue, it's real healthy, it kind of tells you what a good job you're doing. But a lot of times,
does it do your erection count during sleep as well?
Oh
no, I feel like you had to order extra for that. They got that for you?
Oh, you might just not be getting them.
Oh man, I gotta talk to it. Whatever they say in the Viagra ads, if you have one for longer than 4 hours, consult a doctor. Apparently, I'm not having one all night, so I need to call a different doctor.
No, I've never seen that ad. I don't even know what that is. No, but as Mike was saying, the Oura ring is a great bio tracker. It just tracks all your bio things. As I get older, I used to be one of those guys who used to say, I'll sleep when I was dead, and it was just all work, work, work. But I think science has taught us, the latest science and the clinical trials and the studies have taught us that if there's, the 4 pillars of health, exercise, diet, mental health. And the fourth one that I used to always skip was sleep. And this Oura ring, they should be sending us all free Oura rings for talking about them so damn much. It really tracks my sleep and things I was doing before. I live in California, so cannabis is legal. I was taking a little THC, CBD before bed. I was taking the valerian root. I was taking melatonin. All these things I thought were helping me get better sleep. And none of them actually did. They helped me fall asleep quicker, but I wasn't getting the deep sleep. And the Oura ring has just been fantastic for that. Another thing I do too this morning, and the reason my hair is a little wet, which little I have left, is I went into my cold plunge pool, which is right in this side of my house here, and I found that's been another fantastic thing as well.
So it sounds like you're taking incredible care of yourself now. Walk us through, because a lot of this documentary seems to be about how hard everyone was living during the American Gladiators time here. What was your recovery process like during the height of American Gladiators?
Take another shot of testosterone.
All right. You know what? I'm glad you said it. I just want
He led you right where you wanted to be led, Michael, Jr.
So
that's
Michael,
why Dan Nitro Clark is the best, okay?
So Michael, but let me go back. We're going to go back to wherever you want to go. But I just want to say, look, I was a 22-year-old guy who had just got cut from strike ball with the Rams. They kept me on for another 3-4 weeks, but the NFL was the dream. So when I came to Hollywood, I was a guy who had a 2-year-old son who didn't have a job, who was living on his strike money. And when I got the job, I would have fought Mike Tyson if they said, here's $500. So I knew what I signed up for, and getting hurt and getting injured was just part of the deal. Now, looking back in retrospect, I can say, damn, I wish they would have tried the games out before they actually let humans do them. We were like the guinea pigs in these when you see the docuseries, you'll see these guys, they were drawing pictures in their backyard, stuntmen saying like, hey, I wonder if we can get people to do this, and then we did that and we paid the price. But, besides, and we show this a lot in Muscles Mayhem on Netflix right now. The number one show, I will say again, because I'm so proud and stoked.
Yeah.
We talk about this a lot I think I have only one regret of American Gladiators. I wouldn't take the rest back. It was such a phenomenal experience. The one regret, and why I think the show blew up, was that the big corporate entity was not paying the little guys. When I say the little guys, it was us gladiators who created, I think, the following of that show by leaving our blood, sweat, and tears on that mat. And when it came time after the show was a success, and we were on all these pieces of merchandise, even a Slurpee cup, toys, Mattel, all this, we said, hey, just be a good business partner and share in the merchandising rights. We're not asking for anything out of this world. We're not asking for a Jack Nicholson Batman deal. Just give us what the industry standard is. And I remember Sam Goldwyn Jr. told our rep, my dad didn't negotiate, and neither do I. Come to work or you're fired. And it's kind of the same thing that's going on with the writer's strike right now. These guys, Zaslav, 250 million. Right. And the writers are saying, just give us a little. Just give us a little. And that's what it felt like. So and I'm in the Writers Guild. I've been for 25 years, and I fully support that. And that's what it kind of feels like again. Now, go ahead, go. Ask me about Royd's Rage and Redemption.
I just wanted to ask if steroids were awesome or not, because like everyone, we talk about all the bad stuff. Obviously, there are bad side effects and things you have to contend with. But at the time when you're on all that test, like, what is that feeling? What's the superpower that comes along with that the rest of us who have not gone down that path missed out on?
So you're natty. You're natural. You never tried roids?
No, I never got up the gall to actually do it. I always looked from afar and wondered.
Not okay. So you're not hiding under the guise of testosterone replacement therapy as you age?
No, I would look way better if I was actually doing that. So no, I wish you could if you could see the rest of my body off camera, you would know this was natural.
Plus, he's a young man, Nitro. I've been thinking about doing that, to be quite honest with you, if you want to know the truth. Why, you don't suggest it?
No. How old are you? Stugotz? I don't know. I can't.
50.
You're still a young man to me. I hit 59 this year. So testosterone replacement therapy. That's, I think, a nice way to say steroids, the bean, the juice, whatever you want to call it, the gear. You're still taking the gear. Now, the amounts you take may be different. But I'm on testosterone replacement therapy right now. I'm on the gear. I've been on and off it for, 35, 40 years. The dosage is different. But when you go to get testosterone replacement therapy, they pretty much prescribe to you, Stu, what one of the first steroid doctors in America, Dr. Kerr, when I was 18 years old, when steroids went illegal in 1982, prescribed to me. It's the same dosage. I went in there after I was playing JUCO ball, and I got injured my freshman year at Santa Ana College. And I saw my dream, this kid from Santa Ana whose parents had no money. I saw my dream of going to college and getting a scholarship evaporate because I blew out my knee. And I was in the gym, and there was this buff dude, and I just walked up to him on my little crutches, trying to rehab. And I said, "My God, you look great. What do you do, my dad?" And he's just whispered in my ear, and he said, "I take steroids." And now we all know what that is. But back then, in 1982, I was like, "What are steroids?" And he said, look, it's this thing that helps your body rebuild faster so you can work out harder. And I was like, okay. And he said, there's rumors that these guys, Schwarzenegger and some football players in Ferrigno are taking them. And I said, are they safe? And he says, I get them from a doctor. I said, what? You get this shit from a doctor? This time I was 17 and a half. I finished high school young, not because I'm smart, but another story. And so I said, let's go. So I drive up to see this doctor, 17 and a half years old, Dr. Kerr, and he won't see me. He says, you're not 18. I can't prescribe unless you're 18. So on my 18th birthday, May 21st, I got my dad to give me $172, and I went and drove up and saw Dr. Kerr from Orange County, California to Los Angeles. And there he introduced me to the world of steroids. And it was the same dosage that when I go to my friend Stephanie at Novus here in Studio City, California, same dosage she starts people out on. So it's not that much different. Now, anybody starting TRT, I would say, if your doctor's, and again, I'm not a doctor, this is just anecdotal advice from my personal experience. The doctor will usually sometimes want to, I think they overprescribe. They'll say, here, take 200 milligrams of testosterone cypionate. I think the minimal dosage that gets the result is what you want to stay with Stugotz if you're going to do with it. And what you need to do, again, consult your doctor, but they're going to look at your testosterone levels. As we age, our testosterone levels go down. I think the FDA would say testosterone on a natural level is, I think, 250 to 1100. I could be getting that wrong by 100. Go look it up on Google. 250 is extremely low. So what I believe is in optimal levels. So I want to be around 900 milligrams. That's what you have when you're in your 20s. And that's where I do my blood work every 3 months. Religiously, to see where my testosterone levels are, to see where my red blood cell counts are, because it can cause high levels, can cause your blood to thicken. And that shit's not good, because that leads to blood clots and heart attacks. And I think a lot of times, and this is a speculation why you saw a lot of the WWE guys die young, is because they were on the bean and they weren't taking something to thin their blood. Or sometimes you actually have to go give blood to thin out your blood. So it's a whole thing here. So Stu, I think you go to see the doctor. You can even call Stephanie on Novus here, and I'll give you the number after. She does. She's fantastic. She tests all your blood work. She spends an hour with you. She tells you everything, and she'll tell you exactly what you need and how much you need. And you want to be in that optimal range, because once you open that Pandora's box, you take too much too soon. Your body stops making the testosterone. Then you're at a deficit. You just want the minimal dosage that gets the job done. And what should you see? Increased erection frequency. So you won't be like Golick Jr. and your ring won't register. You'll see increased libido. You'll see more energy. You'll recuperate. But here's the key. Because I have a lot of friends who are on TRT, and I know women, tons of women now are on light doses of testosterone. I'm talking Beverly Hills housewife types. I'm not talking, female gladiators, not bench press you types. And what you really need, you need to exercise, you need to train. Steroids by themselves are not the magic placebo. I have friends who are, I won't even say what they do because they may know I'm talking about them. They go to the TRT, but they don't train, and their body's not any different. It helps you if you work, if you diet, if you exercise. If that makes sense. Okay, class is over. What can we talk about next?
Did it ever help you Did it ever help you lift up like a VW Beetle or something? Like, what was like the craziest thing? They're like, oh my God, this is awesome. I should keep doing these.
I think that's what Mike was trying to get at. Like in your 20s, like at American Gladiators, when you were taking it, what did it look like and what did it feel like? It
was the same thing I took when I played football. It was a minimal dosage. You get stronger, faster. I think the downside is this. And I remember when I was at San Jose State, my junior year, I led our team in sacks. I was a preseason All-American. Scouts were starting to come to see me because I was big, I was fast, I was an edge rusher. Claude Gilbert, my coach, was fantastic, but I tore a hamstring. What happens is your muscles grow so fast and they get strong. And a lot of times they can't handle the torque because they haven't had time to completely form, and muscles tear. And then other times, your muscles get so big, your tendons and ligaments can't handle it because your growth is supposed to come over time, and it's a different landscape too, my dudes, right? When I took the steroids, they weren't even illegal. Right. The NCAA had not come down with their ruling yet because we didn't know what they were. Now, if you're taking steroids, they're illegal. You're cheating. You get banned. Right. So we're talking about two different things. But, so I don't want to glorify them, because I tore my hamstring. The next year, they designed this whole defense for me at San Jose State, and it never got better. And that's probably why I didn't have a pro career. So what gave me that extra strength and helped me come back was also a two-edged sword, where I believe I tore my hamstring because of that. People young production company just at that time trying to make a show. Let's do something for the people. But you know why Gladiators, I think, was great? And I've had 25 years to think about this. And when they did the reboot, I was talking to Michael Hearn, who played Titan on the reboot in 2008. That guy is just a physical specimen. And I said to him, Mike, it's not your fault that the revival didn't succeed. You are an awesome physical specimen. Jen Witherspoon, awesome physical specimen. Gina Carano, MMA fighter. You guys are awesome gladiators. It was overproduced. Had NBC behind it, had all these studio execs, all these accountants trying to run a sports competition show. The original show, the heart of it was, hey, Billy, today you and Mike are going to go on these obstacles. They're going to be hard as and not only are the obstacles going to be hard as you're going to have to try to beat the asses of these big, huge dudes and chicks in spandex. And to Billy and to Mike, you guys are the best in your town. Captain of the football team, baseball team. You still felt like you had that athletic ability, and you didn't have a platform to show it. For the smart brainiacs, you had, Wheel of Fortune, Trivial Pursuit, all these other game shows. For the athlete, you didn't have anything if you weren't allowed and you couldn't continue your dream of being an athlete. And American Gladiators brought that. And it was hardcore. It was raw. It was pure competition. It was mano a mano, going in these obstacles against these larger-than-life action figures, and made the best man win. And not only did you win, but you won in Hollywood. And the new one, they just overproduced it. You look at American Ninja Warrior. What is American Ninja Warrior? That whole show, in my opinion, is the American Gladiator final event, the Eliminator, was this crazy obstacle course. That whole show is based upon two people, or a group of people, going and doing their best in a crazy obstacle course. Did that make any sense, or am I just talking out my...
No, you're awesome.
No, it makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. And you're right, looking for that predecessor, because I think everyone was kind of looking for the success that you guys have had with something physical like that. When in the process did you guys know you would achieve something? Like, when did you feel the most famous, or like you guys had arrived at this show's peak?
That's a great question, Mike. I'd say, and again, we cover this in Muscles Mayhem on Netflix. Did I say it was the #1 show yet?
No.
Yeah, you did a couple of times. Listen, no one promotes like you.
Anyway, so after the first 13 episodes of American Gladiators, and again, they paid a scale $700. When it finished, it was such a show. We had this guy dressed up in this black outfit from head to toe, and he was called the Executioner. And if after an event, if you won or lost, he would do a thumbs up or thumbs down. Was breaking, people were getting hurt. When those first 13 episodes ended, I was like, I better go find another job. This is never gonna last. I think we were all shocked when they called us back and said we're doing a second 13, which made the whole first season of 26 episodes. We were shocked. And the second 13 got a little bit better. We dumped Malibu, great guy, shitty gladiator. You know, he looked like Farrah Fawcett with his hair.
Who was the worst? Who was the worst gladiator? Was it Malibu?
Worst gladiator as far as his ability to perform as a gladiator? Oh, Malibu. I mean, great guy, beautiful hair, built like a god, world-class racquetball player. But racquetball player.
Malibu.
Yes.
Wow.
A world-class racquetball player. And great dude. I mean, great dude. But racquetball doesn't prepare you to get punched in the face. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And as you guys know, play football, there's a tell. And we talk about it in the docuseries. There's a tell, and I remember this from football, is when someone's got to do we had this guy, I won't say his name because I like him. We went to San Jose State. This guy was built like a Greek god. He came in, and we're like, oh, my God, look at this guy. He could have walked on stage and won a Mr. America. But as soon as we started contact drills, we went, bap, and I saw him blinking. And I said, oh, guy can't hit, right? The guy can't hit. And the same thing with Malibu. We would start to do these contact things, and he would like start blinking, blinking. And literally, he blinked his way off the show. He could not take a hit. He got his ass kicked. He flew off that human cannonball. And, at the end of the first 13, they just said, you don't got it. And that was one of the things about gladiators. Your job wasn't guaranteed. If you did not perform, your ass was getting fired. If you got hurt, you weren't getting paid. We shot 26 episodes in a season. You got hurt in episode 3. Bye-bye. Were you paying us for the other ones? Nope. Yeah, that's what it was like. Back then it was the Stone Ages.
If you guys took extra pride in having these competitors, these big shots from their hometown coming in and you guys just crushing their dreams and saying, you know what, you're not up to standard with the Gladiators. But as an added thing, you guys had to continue to perform or they just cut you off the show.
Let me say that without the contenders, there would be no Gladiators. So all you contenders out there across America who came on and gave us your best, all the contenders, when we did our 120 city tour, we sold out Madison Square Garden, who came out there and gave us your best. We wouldn't be here without you. So this is just a moment to say thank you. And I think any true athlete, men or women, would not want you not to give your best. You know what I mean? You're playing with your buddy and like, yeah, dude, try. Well, I think out of respect, you owe the captain of the football team who's coming to face you, out of respect for him as a human being, as a competitor, you owe him that to give him 100%. But remember the format of the show, Billy. It wasn't you had to beat us. It was
you had to beat each other.
You and Mike going against each other to see who did better against the Gladiator. And that's how you got your score. We were just obstacles.
Dan Nitro Clark, this has been amazing. The American Gladiators docuseries, Muscles and Mayhem, an unauthorized story of American gladiators, is streaming now on Netflix. It's ranked what, Dan? What is it ranked right now?
Numero uno.
That's right.
I know.
I am wondering, Dan, just on the way out here, you had such a great run. If you had to pinpoint one or two reasons as to why the thing fell apart, because it was so popular, what would those reasons be?
We talk about it 100% in Muscles and Mayhem. It was after season, and it's one specific thing, and I am so clear on this. After season 3, we were at the height of popularity. We had just done our 120 city tour. The merchandising Mattel toy line had just come out. And I covered this earlier with you. We went to the producers and said, be fair, share in some of the profits. They said, no, come back to work or you're fired. So the 3 most popular gladiators, Gemini, Nitro, Ice, and Zap, who was with us, we all quit. They had this belief that the franchise was popular. They had the belief that it's the WWE, not back in my day, Hulk Hogan, Iron Sheik, Randy Macho Man, Savage, Ultimate Warrior, right? They had that belief. And then when the show came back the next year without us, the ratings just cratered. They thought they could put anybody in spandex and it would be the same. So they begged me to come back the following year. And I said, no. I said, I'm not coming back because we stood up for something. Then they threw another carrot at me. They said, you know what? Come back as Nitro for 1 year, and then you can host with Mike, the fabulous Mike Adamle. Fabulous Mike. I love that man. He's been such a mentor to me. You can host with Mike Adamle. You can, come up to the booth like a lot of people did, which my aspirations were to, host and act. So that's what happened. And that's what built the show, was over greed. And let me close on this. Let me just say, the whole experience was amazing. I don't regret 1 minute. The new docuseries that's out, I think fans are going to love it. My partner and I created, along with Jared Hess and Tony and Campfire and everybody who helped with Netflix, to make it something that the fans would love. So when you watched it, it would take you right back to that era with the music and the times. We have sex, drugs, rock and roll, and spandex. There's stories of tragedy, but also stories of triumph. And it all started based upon the book I wrote 10 years ago, Gladiator, a true story of Royd's Rage redemption, because that was the initial intellectual property that we pulled my stories from that got the deal started. So again, I want to thank you guys for coming on. I hope you fix your problem, Mike Golick Jr., with your, that, we won't say it again because I know it's embarrassing. Dude, if you're going to, hit me up if you're going to go on, I'll have the publicist give you a number. If you're going to do the TRT thing, I'm happy to talk you through it. And Billy and Mike, I appreciate you guys. I'm fans of you guys. You guys do an excellent job. And, thanks for having me on, my boys.
Check out the docuseries on Netflix right now. It's #1. Just an odd request on the way out here. We were having a weird conversation about whistling before you came on. Are you the kind of guy? Can you whistle, Nitro? Can you whistle? Can you do 2 fingers in the mouth and whistle?
No.
Oh, you can't. Okay. Right.
No. Why? I need to hear the context of this.
Well, Mike Golick Jr. started off the show by whistling for some reason, and then we got into a whole conversation about whistling and how impressive it is for the person that can do the 2 fingers in the mouth and just let out a really loud whistle.
And obviously, he must be the one who can do it.
He can't.
I wish.
But after he takes testosterone, he will.
None of us. Getting the boners in the right spot.
Mike, nobody can do it?
Nobody on this, no.
No one can do it. Nah.
You should see it. This is maybe off the track, like cunnilingus and 2-finger whistling. You should see if there's some kind of thing there.
Maybe.
You see,
we're talking.
You see men with happy wives and can you whistle with 2 fingers? They're like, yeah. And the wife's like, he can whistle with 2 fingers. I'll leave you guys with that, man.
All right, Nitro. Congratulations, man. #1 on Netflix right now. Check it out. DocuSeries, American Gladiators. It was a great time. It really was.
Yeah.
It was a great time in American history. It was.
Yes, sir. And you guys everyone can find me at Dan Nitro Clark on social. Drop into my DMs. That's how you know I'm getting younger. All right. Drop into my DMs, right?
Listen, we're going to request you some more, okay? I have questions about testosterone. I want you to take me through it. But we're also thinking perhaps a weekly appearance on God Bless Football once the season starts. What do you think? You good?
Dude, I need help because I'm getting I need help because I'm getting my friends to ask me to play fantasy football. And I need you guys as my cheat code.
Yeah,
it's $250 to get in, and I don't have time to do all this. So you guys are going to be my cheat code. We can do a weekly segment,
weekly fantasy with Nitro.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I need your help. I need you guys to tell me who to pick, and we can follow along. And I'm going to kick their ass. And one of the guys is English. And if an English guy, my friend Steve Lightfoot, beats me in fantasy football, my life will be over.
Yeah.
Right? Because they don't even have football over there.
Can't let Lightfoot beat you.
We got you. Listen, we got your back. You come on once a week. We'll pick the team for you, and you'll go beat your friend from England, okay?
Yes, I got you. I love you guys, man. Thank you.
All right.
Cheers.
Love you, buddy.
Thank you.
All right, good luck. Gojo, we have, I believe now 10 players suspended for gambling in the NFL. 7 suspended for the entire year. They're out for the year. 3 got a 6-game suspension for merely gambling on another sport, but having the audacity to do it from their team facility. What do you make of all this, Gojo?
In general, these, like, I understand where the NFL is coming from. The 6-game suspension, somebody is going to have to explain to me. And I asked this the first time this came up with Jamison Williams, because he was the biggest name so far of the players that had been suspended, was what is the actual gripe with them placing a non-NFL bet at work? Because again, clearly between the sports books and the NFL, they've got the ability to pretty accurately track the gambling activity. So if you know they're betting on like Major League Baseball, but they do it sitting in their locker at a towel after practice, I need to know what the issue is there, because I just can't see it.
Right, I totally understand. Like, first off, go on some of these team planes and watch all the gambling that's going on there. Go inside the actual locker room and see the card games that are going on in every NBA locker room in America. It's
Dude,
ridiculous.
my dad used to talk about the Boo-ray games on their plane when he was with the Eagles all the time. Right. You see money changing hands over college football games in there. Everything gets gambled on in pro locker rooms. And you're going to, because this is now legalized and actually structured, it's an issue, makes no sense to me.
It's odd because you have the NFL as a company, right, taking a lot of the gambling money. They're not shying away from it. And yet you can't have players. It makes no sense. I understand players not being able to bet on their own team. I understand players not being able to bet on their own sport. But to bet on another sport from the team facility, give me you know how much money the Titans are taking from DraftKings or FanDuel? Like, get the hell out of here.
The one that's wild to me, though, was Isaiah Rodgers from the Colts apparently betting on the Colts games.
Yeah.
Like that's a level of audacity that I'm going to need further explanation on, because also you've got the dynamic now. We talked about this. This is the Mikey C principle, where it's 0-16 or 16-0, either be great or be terrible. Colts are pretty bad last year. So were you betting on them to lose or were you betting on them to win? Because it's like, all right, if you took them to win or took them with the spread in each game, at least you're rooting for the home team. But now all of a sudden I got to question your motives if you're betting for them to lose or betting for them not to cover. That feels foul.
I love the idea of a cornerback, Mikey, like betting that the wide receiver that he's covering is going to have the over in catches and yards. That'd be great. You should get a lifetime ban if you do that.
I mean, that's like, if we're really getting to the core of it, because again, the year suspensions, like, I get all that. If you're the NFL and if you're the people they're taking gambling money from, nobody wins if you've got the appearance that things are foul play is at work. And what you just described is the nightmare scenario. Like, yeah, it'd be real easy for me to go down there and tie my shoes or fall over accidentally and get burned for $1.50 in the first half and call it a day. Right. But like, I don't know, man. Are these guys that good at gambling to where they're willing to risk the year's salary? These guys make a lot of money.
Yeah. Right. Well, do any of these guys affect the outcome of games? Like the guys who have gotten busted? I'm serious. Nice. Billy, that's what it's going to be. Billy, I'm telling you right now, the bigger the names get and the bigger roles they play on their teams, if they're gambling on their teams, it's going to be a major, major issue.
Stugotz, and I think I heard Bomani Jones and Spencer Hall make this point. Football is going to be hard for any one player to fix because there's 22 people on the field at once. Right. And unless you're the quarterback, your chances of touching the ball on any given play are so minimal, it's pretty hard. I think the more of it's the access to information, right? You know, injury reports, who's going to be up and down and available, game plan specific stuff. Like, you're a lot more aware of the nuts and bolts than everybody else in a way that would give you the better advantage.
Could a corner be the second most influential guy? Because if you, like you said, if you fall down, that's a touchdown.
Right, Mike, I'm not talking about the outcome of the game. On those individual prop bets, they can absolutely affect the outcome. Anyone could.
The wild part about this is, how is this still happening after Calvin Ridley happened? Like, that's the part that I don't get. You'd think, like, okay, like, he'll be the sacrificial lamb, and then everyone will get the message, and then this problem will go away, but it hasn't gone away.
Well, and they've been telling you not to gamble on football for a long time. Like, this isn't new. Just
it's in your contract. It's in the CBA. I know most of the players aren't reading it, but it's there.
Sure, and it's like it's on posters in every locker room. It's stuff that you're probably like walking around and don't even notice anymore because there's a million things on there that you don't actually read every day. That's why I wanted to note, to Billy's point, after Calvin Ridley, did the PA and all these teams double down like they're doing now on the information they pass along? Because it seems like the NFL's gone out of their way to make it very clear. They put out like 6 bullet points of stuff you're not allowed to do. They're forcing all the rookies to go through training. Why didn't they do that last year after Calvin Ridley, or did they? That's what I'd like to know.
Right. That's a great point by Billy, though. Like, hey, you saw Calvin Ridley. You saw what happened. Like, what the hell are you guys doing?
Yeah.
You can't do it.
Well, and that's why they're doing this now too. Like,
Right.
I'd imagine that's why if it's even close, it's like when they flag a penalty that they want to focus on in the preseason a ton, and we all really get really sick of it. But it sends the message like they're putting up the signal now. Like, hey, it's over. Just don't bother.
Yeah.
All right, we'll get to J.J. Watt news in a second. But first, Mikey A., Dalvin Cook. You want him?
What?
You want him?
Sure.
I love selfish Jet fan now. Who wants everyone? I mean,
Yeah, right after we get Hopkins and trade for Devontae Adams.
Mike,
no
we
first
got
round
Aaron
picks.
Rodgers, guys. That part of getting Aaron Rodgers and that kind of quarterback with a team that was already good, had 7 wins with Zach Wilson at quarterback, is players are going to want to play for Aaron Rodgers, with Aaron Rodgers, because they'll feel like they have a shot at winning a Super Bowl. So if he helps attract Dalvin Cook, I'm all for it. Like, why not? Why wouldn't we want that?
Players still want to play for money.
Yeah.
Like,
We have money, don't we?
Well, he's.
We
I
ran
mean,
out of money.
he came out.
You have to pay Rodgers and Quinnen.
He came out and he said, "I want to play the Dolphins," and they have supposedly made him an offer, but he hasn't signed there, so doesn't want to play there that bad. Like, he wants the money too.
Wants money.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a running back, man, you got to get it while you can. It's hard
Yeah.
out here right now.
You should.
Did you guys see? I saw this the other day and I couldn't believe it. I guess I should have, right? Because everybody talks about how running backs really are underpaid. Everybody feels like they're underpaid.
Billy, I've heard people say running backs should form their own union. Like, that's how badly they're being treated right now.
Well, only one running back ever has made over $100 million in their career, and is Adrian Peterson, which I guess I shouldn't be surprised by, but was like, wow, I guess I never really thought about that.
Well, that was like also timing too, right? Like AP was still in an era where we were running a bunch of I formation stuff in Minnesota, and the money had ballooned because you had a time where running back was the coolest position that you could have in sports. They just weren't paying out to anyone really like that. Like AP really hit the sweet spot. You're right.
It's just wild because like it was just the wrong time because you have wide receivers making $30 million a year now, and and running backs just aren't getting the money.
No, it's get a running back in the draft, work him to death for 5 years, and then get rid of him and move on to another one in the draft. That's basically what it's become. It's why Austin Eckler, who joins us weekly on the show, was so adamant that Saquon Barkley set the market for the running backs. But look what happened when Austin Eckler was able to go out and seek another team. It wasn't there for him. And he's one of the best running backs in the NFL because he's probably only got 2 or 3 years left on that body. He's telling us every week how much his body hurts. I'm not even certain he's 30 yet. So it's what do you do there, Mike? Because that's the position. 30 times a game, you're going to get hit. That's it. If they give you the ball 30 times a game, you're getting hit 30 times a game.
Get on the jugs machine and try and switch to slot when you're in high school. Like that's the reality.
Right?
And like for a long time, like running back's also the most, and I've said this for a while, running back's the most accessible body type in the NFL, right? Mm-hmm. You can find a lot more dudes 5'8", between 5'8" and 6'2", between $180 and 220 walking the street than most other body types or skill sets in the NFL. And so you've got a glut of guys at that position, got a lot of talented dudes who started off there, and offenses that use them less now. Like it's bad timing because the emphasis is on the passing game, rules wise and otherwise. Every part of the league came together to say, yeah, we want to put asses in seats, and we think throwing the ball is the way to do it. Because now we finally let guys that are great athletes also play quarterback instead of just having Peyton Manning and Tom Brady back there.
Yeah, it's such an interchangeable position now. It's like the Eagles. Eagles went to the Super Bowl. They're like, Miles Sanders, see ya. We'll bring in Swift. Yeah, he'll do the same in this offense.
Yeah, when your quarterback can be a viable run threat too, like it makes it hard. Like you look at the situation, the Eagles are a great example. It's all right. We know Miles Sanders is a very good running back, but he also was running behind the best offensive line in football, running with one of the most prolific quarterback rushers in football. And so if you're going to pick the parts that you want to pay, the O-line affects the foundation for so much else and protects the quarterback, and the quarterback's obviously going to be the guy. So it's just a bad math problem based on what the league emphasizes right now.
All right, Billy, this has been a fun episode. Thank you to Gojo for joining us, Dan Nitro Clark as well. Thank you for him, teaching me how to use testosterone. I have to get in touch with Dr. Kerr later. I will.
Talk to Stacy.
What is this news going on with J.J. Watt?
J.J. Watt has a new home, Stugotz. Announced today, quote, and this is according to NFL.com, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year and Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year has signed a multi-year deal with J.J. Watt to join CBS Sports.
Oh, my God. Really?
You're going to get J.J. Watt in studio beginning week 1 of the 2023 season in the CBS studio as an analyst.
Wait, so he's not doing games. He's just he's the pregame, postgame studio host?
He will be, well, not the host. He's going to be an analyst, and he has said...
Who's he replacing?
Well, I guess we'll find out here in this quote. He'll say, and I quote, "I love the game too much to be away from it entirely. I'm very excited to be joining CBS Sports to contribute across all their NFL shows and platforms, including working alongside and learning from JB, Coach, Boomer, Phil, and Nate this fall." So I don't know who's missing from there.
One of the coaches.
Are they just adding him in?
Well, there's 2 coaches, right? It's Bill Cowher. Isn't there another coach on that?
I'm looking at the roster right now.
Give me the names again, slowly.
So he's thanked JB, Coach, Boomer, Phil, and Nate.
Oh, I thought I missed Phil the first time around. I thought maybe that was him. That sounds like everybody.
Yeah, I think they're just adding him. Yeah.
They're adding J.J. Watt. Wow.
Exciting news.
J.J. Watt sits in the center, right?
Of course.
With an American flag strapped around his neck.
It would be good if they had him off. They have him off to the side, like diagramming plays, and it's like an old school, like actual chalkboard or like an old school dry erase board, but it's an actual classroom. So there is like the American flag, like coming off the corner of the wall or whatever. And then for some reason, there's like a loudspeaker system next to a clock on top of the board as well.
They should do the pledge before they start.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
He draws up plays where the routes spell out support the troops.
I'm surprised he didn't make him move the pregame show to the USA Network.
Wow. Wow.